Common Courtesy with
She got that gushy.
Sean Nicholas.
She don't speak broke, that shit sound pussy. A lot of lame
I have to agree with everyone as well because deadass, one, I'd fucking run because Nikki Prue.
Can't say anything to him because you snooped. You should just be moved out already. Like, in my opinion, this woman should already.
Angelique Young.
And I would have even told them about the money when I got there. I'd have said I only found X, Y, and Z minus the ATM money I withdrew.
Ivan Alexander.
You have to be able to accept what you found and then make a decision from there. Don't go crying to Dear Abby about it or your friends. Make up your mind, put your big red teeth.
And Dr. Christina Palin.
If someone like Britney Spears goes through something like this for 13 years where she's completely blocked.
Yay! Everybody's all here. I'm so excited.
Tonight's topics: former tour manager of R. Kelly testifies. Then, popular website OnlyFans bans sexually explicit content. We react. But before that, we invite local performers to react to the fallout over the recent controversy at Hamburger Mary's Clearwater. This is Common Courtesy. Let's start the conversation. How you do that? Hey guys, and welcome back to Common Courtesy.
Sorry, I've lost the music. I get
Always. We always have to catch ourselves when we get back on because I'll be sitting here like, let me get ready.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I love Rico Davis and his song Stay Proper. And baby, I'll be back here dancing. And then I added that explosion at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of just throws you off guard. Angelique, welcome back to the panel. This is your first time seeing
Hi. Yes. I know it totally got me right together because normally I dance all the way till the cuts on, but I heard that I had to look at the screen. I was like, what's going on? I was like, did I get a call in the middle? What's going on here?
All right. Welcome back, babe. And under her, we have Ivan Alexander. Ivan, how are you today?
Always ready to go.
Oh, I already know. I can't wait to get started. So let's get started with everything because we have 3 guests waiting in our backstage. For the first topic that I saw on social media, I think that it warrants a conversation, was a recent pageant controversy at Hamburger Mary's Clearwater. So just to get more backstory, because I could tell the story, I want to bring on Veronica Vixen, Mr. Vin Suasion, and Apollo Infinity. And we're going to get into this topic a little bit. First up, we're going to have Veronica speak on this a little bit. Veronica, so explain to us what happened to you after the pageant.
Okay, well, hey, I'm Vincent Bailey Santamarina, also known as Veronica Vixen. First off, I just want to apologize to anyone that got dragged into the drama of my comments. I said what I said, and I stand by my comment that I made about my observation of the pageant. I do not condone any of the ill comments that people made towards each other and so forth. Even before I was going to enter the pageant, I have had many friends and family, more friends, beg me not to do it. They told me to stay my distance from JC only because drama follows her. And even before the pageant, there were multiple red flags, which I wish I'd listened to my gut and, wouldn't have been in this predicament. But, last year's pageant was a fiasco with scoring, surprise. There was also the conflict of when I was at registration, the person who was offering the cash prize for the pageant also heavily sponsored Stephanie Stewart, although I still raised more money, so that wasn't even an issue to me. And
which was another, sorry to interrupt, I'm just trying to keep the story together, which was another contestant. So what happened was you said that after the pageant, you were told by the host, JC Rhea, who hosted the show at Hamburger Mary's, came to you with a score sheet that was changed. That's what happened, but just continue, go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. And then, the last red flag was there's only 2 contestants. There was one contestant, which was Stephanie Stewart, and then a sucker, which was me. But anywho, the pageant happened. It was a good pageant. Everybody did their all. And I just want to make it clear, too, I don't have any ill reasoning or words for Stephanie Stewart. I love Stephanie Stewart, and I think she probably got sucked into this. But anywho, the pageant happened. There was crowning. I was crowned the winner. We took pictures. I talked to everybody. Blah 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 blah. About 45 minutes later, I'm in the back changing, and JC needed to talk to me. So pulls me up on stage, and she says, there's a big issue in the scoring. I called the wrong person. But see, this is the issue. It wasn't that she pulled like a quote Steve Harvey and called the wrong person. I mean, she was showing me the score sheets. When she originally showed me the score sheets, there were no initials by the score sheets. That's when I started to flip out. Then there's like a 90-point spread in the points. If anybody knows anything about pageants, 90 points is like unheard of between first and second place. It's just, it's just ridiculous. And then the score sheets look like a treasure map with all of the crosses, X's, chain scores that you could see behind them. I mean, it was just a circus. And then on top of it, JC started to personally attack me, which I didn't say anything bad about her, which, I mean, I could have said 100 things, but I kept my mouth shut and I tried to keep it cute and professional. But she started to personally attack me, personally attack my style, what I was wearing. She was just making low blows. And then to top it off, she said that if I was to open my mouth about this, and she would personally destroy me, what her words were. And there were, other friends that were there with me. It just became really, really, really nasty. I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And the reason why I decided to do the pageant, because everyone's like, girl, why did you do the pageant? Why did you do the pageant? If anybody knows me, like they know me, I love my community and I love fundraising for my community. Here locally, I'm a past broken slut, which raised lots of money for the community. In Jacksonville, I'm a former Miss Riot, which is for AIDS awareness for the community up in Jacksonville. I'm a promoter for Comedy Queen, which works directly with the Barber Fund, which raises money for people living with cancer so they can go to the doctor, pay their bills, and everything else. So when I heard it was a community pageant, besides JC's name attached to it, I was all for it.
Okay. All right. So then after that, there were comments made in, the Facebook post. And Vin, what was said to you? Because this kind of comes to you next.
Okay. Let me preface this by saying that I wish everybody the best. The comment was it was old school cattiness, to be completely frank. I wasn't offended by it at all, to be completely frank. The comment was basically Monica Moore calling me a little girl. I had made a comment to Vincent, and also, for what it's worth, I have no malice towards you, Veronica Vixen. I think that you're actually a great entertainer. So for all of this to come into works is like really messy. Personally, I have experience in pageantry outside of the LGBT circuit. So, like, my family has been working with Miss Universe for a very long time. My family is part of the Miss Philippines pageantry system. And so I've worked backstage through quite a bit of different pageants of different age groups. With that said, I do not find a 90-point distinction to be rare. I've seen it happen before in multiple occasions. So my invite was to see other pageants that are not in the LGBT circuit. I make up that the US is very limited with their views on pageantry, and worldwide, it's just a whole next level. So what I meant in my comments was no malice at all. Like, it was truly just an invite to be open-minded. And I get friends being defensive for friends. I also understand old school cattiness. What I make up rose from this was the lack of credibility and lack of accountability. I make up that when everybody makes mistakes, we're all human. And if we make a mistake, we get to own up to it. And that was the issue here, was that instead of owning up to something that was spoken, Monica Moore instead was like, oh, so block me, which raised red flags everywhere in the community. I'm very grateful that I have a loving community that truly, they saw all this before I saw it. So I was getting messages on my Facebook going, oh my God, have you seen this? And I'm like, no, this is crazy. So it's truly just an accountability conversation. It's just, and Hamburger Mary's, with all due respect, I realize that no one And I don't think anybody's giving Hamburger Mary's the credibility that they deserve at this point. They really handled it well, the way that they were taking in the information, and it may not have happened in people's timing, like their own timing, but Hamburger Mary's handled what they needed to handle. So I honor them for that.
Okay. And then Apollo, how did you feel about all this? Because you were very vocal when this happened. And there's some comments we have to get to later, but from an Alyssa Haley Walker. I don't know who that is. But Apollo?
You know, I'm glad that like Vin has his own resolution, which is the most important thing, because he was the one that was like in the regards to the whole thing with Hamburger Mary's in that situation, like he was the one that was, you know, targeted for that. So if he's happy with that, I'm happy for him. But I mean, I've been doing like social media type of management, and I see a lot of things with PR. Like right now, I mean, I'm back and forth trying to do these little social marketing campaign things. So I don't actually feel like Hamburger Mary's handled it effectively, because I mean, if you look even at more bigger businesses, for example, like we've seen the whole thing that happened with like DaBaby and the whole AIDS comments and how all these festivals started handling it. You know, you'll notice that there's something public that has to be said. You know, there wasn't anything publicly said about what they were going to do to handle the Monica Moore situation, and it's something that's very simple to do, but I think that there was like a lack of experience when it comes to like handling something that's more like in the PR spectrum, and it doesn't make their business necessarily look good, because I mean, I can say it because I know what happened. Monica did get all her gigs taken out for the whole comments, and there's a lot of other comments that people brought up to Hamburger Mary's that she's said even before this whole thing. So I think it was collectively, you know, they just sent her packing. But there's also a lot of people who don't know that because nothing was said. And I think that's really important too, because that means there's a lot of people in the community who don't really feel like there was some sort of justice that was served in that. And it doesn't make, if you're in like the situation like Ben and I are as transgender people, if I didn't know that personally, I still wouldn't want to go to a place that hasn't said anything, you know, about it, because how would I, as that type of person, feel safe going there? So for me, it's just, I think it still wasn't, in my own professional opinion, handled correctly. But I mean, that's all up for debate.
That part I definitely agree with Apollo. There's definitely something public that they should address. It can only, I mean, settling it with me is one thing, and I'm a very patient person. And so, like, on a bigger scale, like I had said earlier, accountability is really the conversation here. Like, they get to state to their audience that they are a safe, loving space, and that they remove unnecessary value. So I definitely agree with that.
Okay. And then, all right. So guys, my panel, Angelique, I'm gonna go to you guys first. How did you feel with this whole thing and their resolution?
Angelique, Ivan go first.
No. I really want you to go, because I know you got your guns loaded and ready to go.
Okay. No. This has been interesting because I've actually stayed out of this one. I chose to take a step back. I didn't. How do I address this? I didn't realize in the funneling of information at first that these two stories, you know, were together. I kind of heard the story of what Veronica went through, and it kind of came and went. And I was like, not for nothing, Florida pageant. That's just how I feel about a lot of pageants that happen in Florida, especially ones tied to specific locations or cities or specific people. In this particular instance, it was a three-ringer for me. I wasn't even getting out of bed for this pageant because I was like, just the name, the place, and everything that went with it, the community aspect of it. I've seen people like Corey Stevens run a community pageant before that is detrimental to the community and actually does good for the community. And it's promoted in a manner that even if you don't know what it is, you still know it's for charity and you still know that it's good, right? So just kudos to people like that who actually hold pageants that are fair and well and good and all things wonderful. To Veronica, I want to apologize to you. As somebody who is very much involved in pageant community, I've been doing pageants for 12 years in all kinds of states across the Eastern Coast. A 90-point lead between a first and second place is almost never happens. It really does. In drag pageantry, it truly does. It's a very rare thing. The only time that happens is when somebody is getting their ass spanked. Like somebody who literally just put on drag yesterday versus a veteran who's got like several titles on their shelf at home. It is literally a very rare thing for somebody brand new. I mean, for somebody to come in and have a 90-point lead. And that's not something you make a mistake on as well. That's something that literally somebody comes out and you can see their garments, their hairline, their, you know, the gown does not fit well or whatever have you, the talent, something fell off, whatever happened that made those points drop, that you know them from the moment as a judge as well. You know from that moment what's going on. So it's very rare that somebody F's up that bad, 90 points. That's like, I can't even imagine how that happened. First and foremost. So I apologize for you for having to deal with that and having to have it go in reverse for you, because I can't even imagine how frustrating that would be to go in and do your best and think you won, and then them tell you not only did you lose, but you lost by 90 points. Like I would have walked out with a bottle of vodka in one hand and a bottle of tequila in the other hand and tell them you figure it out. You know, like, because that's pretty much what you told me at that point, right? To talk about then when it comes to Monica Moore, wow. Your grace is unmatched. You are truly just an amazing human being, because Monica is known for saying some outrageous stuff. She's known for being a lot more aggressive and a lot more abrasive, especially when intoxicated at situations. Like, I'm one of those people who grew up in the scene for the past 8 years and have crossed paths with her many times. And I've just come to know her as being that person. I think that a part of the response you guys are seeing is a part of a twofold flip in the community. We are going from a phase of where we kind of learn to accept things to where we stand up for things and we speak on them aggressively, like, you know, like Apollo did. And we make it a point to shake people and say, no, we don't have to accept this behavior. This behavior is not a necessity for us. And especially in these circumstances, even though it was something really small, I've learned with kids that if you allow them to act a certain way, you're pretty much saying that this behavior is acceptable. And when it happens again, they're going to turn to you and say, but you let me say this time. But I said this. There's been so many times where people have said things and they turn to me and they're like, girl, did that offend you? And I'm like, no, but I'm not the one you're talking to. I'm not in the blast radius. I'm behind you. So of course it's not going to affect me. Of course I'm not going to flinch, just like I didn't when I seen the comments come up and I said, oh girl, it's another drama. It's another thing. It's Miss Moore. You know, I just ignored it. And honestly, it didn't affect me because I'm not a part of that community anymore. I don't perform at Hamburger Mary's Clearwater. I don't go there and eat since the ownership changed. So that's another thing in and of itself. And full disclosure about this whole situation, if I'm not mistaken, just because I don't know if everybody else knows, and we really didn't talk about exactly what happened, but to make things clear, Veronica was in a pageant with one other contestant, Miss Stephanie, is that what happened? Correct, right? And this was a community-based pageant, which means that this pageant has no national, regional, state, and or bar weight to it, meaning that it is ran, owned, and run by someone of the community in respect to earn money for or support something within the community. So this is what we call in the drag pageant. This is the bottom of the totem pole. This is something that, you know, this gives you pride amongst your community, but it does not carry weight very many other places.
Exactly.
And I have a full rule about any pageant I ever in my life. I won't even do the pageant unless there's 3 contestants. I could walk in dressed and ready, and if you tell me that there's only 2 of us, I will walk out, because there's no way for you to judge us properly if there's just 2 of us. How can you sit there and just one-on-one? And that's just, if that's the case, then you already knew who you wanted to win. You knew what you wanted to do with it. And that's that. Because if not, then you can make a first runner-up, or you can create a secondary pageant for something that's community service basing, and you can make everybody walk out happy. I can't imagine that you don't have some way to do something for that. So that's pretty much just what I wanted to touch base on. If anybody wants to bounce anything else off The straight business and no comment thing. It's a newly owned business. They're a straight owned business. They don't, I hate to say this out loud, and I hate to say it on a recording, but this is just my personal opinion, and it's not reflected by anybody here. They don't give two shits about the gay community. They are owning that business and run that business because that business has a profitable business using drag queens. And even though it's supposed to be a safe space, and it's always been a safe space for us because the people within that are supposed to protect us and care for us. That's what the show director and the entertainers do for us. The staff does for us because the staff has been with that company for so long, or they're a part of the community. That does not mean that the owners feel that way. It does not mean that they have that. And they do have the right to choose to fire them silently and keep it moving and do what they have to do, because at the end of the day, their community, their people that come into there are straight people looking for a gay experience. At the end of the day, that's what Hamburger Mary's has always been. It's always been bachelorette parties and birthday parties and people coming in to celebrate their divorces and circumcisions and everything. It's right in the fucking opening line that we say as a host when you work for the company. And, you know, those people specifically have no idea. They didn't have any idea what they were getting into when they bought Hamburger Mary's. They don't have any idea what they were doing when they've been running the shows. There's a reason why I left. I won't get into that because that's for a whole nother segment. But, you know, the reality is that that's their choice. And despite us not liking it, it's like any good legal battle, baby. Be happy that you got anything, because they could have just said, fuck you, we don't care, and kept her. You know what I mean? They could have said, she's good to us. She's done for us. She brings money in my door. But they chose to listen to you guys and understand that. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just keeping it real with facts. They got it quiet. They got it down. Nobody's upset. They handled it. They made all parties feel. Vin could have flipped the table and been like, fuck no, this ain't enough. I need a verbal apology, and they would have had to give one. You see what I'm saying? Apollo screaming, banging on the door by himself is not enough. It doesn't make people hear it and go, damn, they really didn't give an apology. Yeah, because that's what I did when I heard it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to think about it from that aspect. They just wanted to handle it. And it's way easier to cut ties with her and give her the boot than it would have been to roll out the red carpet and stroke egos and give out, you know, cakes with apologies and candles. It's just not their style.
Right.
Maybe they'll learn. Maybe they will. Maybe it'll be late. But you know, you have to decide: is it too little, too late, or is it better late than never?
Right. And Ivan, just to go to you, just a comment on all of this, so we can.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, pretty much everything Angelique said. When she gets in my head, I hate when that happens, but that's okay. Yeah, pretty much.
Don't let her.
Well, it's not barely enough space up there for me. But anyway, I mean, yeah, basically, I mean, I've been involved with productions before, multi-million-dollar productions, and it's got to be professional, whether it's for profit, not for profit, the whole 9 yards. So basically, it sounds like a two-person, a two individual pageant. It sounds like a shit show, really. And as you said, Angelique, you've only got two people. Which one's it going to be? Did you already plan to say you want to have this one or that winner? So it just sounds like that was a messed up situation to begin with. And then the pettiness of the comment that was made was that's just old school catty. So when you put yourself out there, you have to realize there's going to be repercussions. In this case, they did what they thought they had to do, like you said, for all parties involved. So you know what? Maybe she'll learn from this particular situation here, or maybe she won't. But as you said, if you know her from years of being the way she is, it's like having Roseanne sing the Star Spangled Banner. You know what you're getting involved with. So don't be surprised when this shit happens. I mean, to a degree. So at that point, maybe she'll change her ways, maybe she won't. But at least at this point, it's the attention was put on it. The accountability has stepped up for the most part. You weren't really affected by it. Like you said, you kind of rolled off your back. But for her to do that was just a really cheap, low shot. So for that, she sucks.
Right. And I just kind of want to make a comment on what Apollo said. I do agree with what he's saying, because a lot of times when these things happen, it's like someone has to silence you. You know, it's like this conservative way of dealing with things. And oftentimes nothing really gets done. And before we started this segment, I didn't know that, you know, they didn't do anything. But the one thing about being a straight owned company, I mean, being straight owned, and they're doing like the LGBTQ plus thing, I think they need to really, really start investing in their community, like for real, because I think it's kind of bullshit, you know, that I think they should have said something publicly, because it's not only the older adults like myself and Angelique and, you know, Vin and Apollo. It's not just them, but it's children that are around that are having that issue. And in Florida right now, we're seeing how they no longer want these trans girls to participate in sports. So, I think it would have been a strong move to say something publicly, just for me. I mean, I just think that with everything going on, we need people who are in the position of power that owns these places to make strong moves. Anyone else want to go on before we in this topic?
I was going to say real quick, maybe they didn't feel that empowered enough to say we could actually make this work for us, and they thought maybe it would work against them to a degree. So maybe their confidence level wasn't there to do what we think they should have done on a much larger level. That's just my opinion.
You see, I still disagree with that, because if you really look at it, even in a lot of straight businesses nowadays, if you have an entertainer, I mean, gay stuff like that is very normalized. So like when I was using my example with like the baby and the AIDS comments, and like that he was saying, oh, that his gay fans aren't trashy enough to get AIDS, things were done. And I mean, none of these festivals are owned by gay people. These are straight people in power who, just employ musicians or, go-go dancers and things like that. They put on a show and a bunch of people go and get drugged up and just have a good time. And a lot of these people probably who are in the audience, probably 75% of them were so high off Molly, they don't remember what was said, But the thing is, here's the thing though, is it takes one person that shows that this did happen, and even those businesses are getting it together, and they're not gay catered things, they're not LGBT catered things. When you have this preface that you are a business that is about the LGBT community, regardless if in the end of the day the straight people are the ones making your money, you have already put an investment and a brand together that has honored that idea. So if people from the community are putting reviews with proof that you have, this type of person who's saying, I mean, there's screenshots that she was being racist. There's screenshots that there's a video even that's going around where she beat up a go-go dancer. It's not even just the trans stuff. It's a lot of things collectively. So you get a lot of people who start posting these truths that are out there, and that is your brand. You would be stupid to not do something about it publicly. And I mean, I'm just going to say it like that because I don't care. I'm not employed by Hamburger
we
Mary's.
learned from one of my favorite movies, Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does, baby. And you can't fix stupid. You can't. You can do all the things you want to, but at the end of the day, how they react, how they do their business is their choice. And there's I mean, just it honestly, it is what it is. If they did do one now, it's gonna be because the heat. And do you want an unreal, like I said, you gotta be careful what you wish for and really know what it is you want from the situation. If you want vindication, if you want justice, then boycott. Then don't go. Then tell people that if they go, you no longer support them because they support that. Because that's gonna have a more lasting effect than getting the apology. Because the apology is what is the song? Late. I could do this all night. One Republic, right? The Timbaland, too late to apologize. It's too late, or Willem, apologize. Don't come after everybody cuts your throat to come say you're sorry. Don't come bleed all over me because you're sad at what happened. It should, everybody knows how to run a business. In a business, you stand up for what you believe in and you back down. If people out here talking about, I'm not serving bakers, lost their business because they didn't want to do a gay wedding cake. Now people are going to lose their businesses because they don't want to prevent anti-vaxxers from coming into their business, or the vax card stuff. All these things going on in the world. You have to know people make a choice to make a stand. Some are silent, but remember, silence is just as much as an answer as speaking to the rooftop. You know what I mean? They made their choice. They did it. They showed their ass. Believe it.
Yeah,
that's that. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
I'm not sitting here saying I'm bothered by the fact that they're silent on it. Like I said, I know what happened. She's not employed with them anymore. People said their own thing, and that's mainly what I wanted personally, you know, say some shit, you know, get your shit wrecked. But at the end of the day, from a business perspective, I just am saying like the obvious, which I just think I think it is stupid that they didn't say anything. It doesn't matter to me about the apology or anything. Just from a business standpoint, it's just like hire a PR person, like pay someone $15 an hour to handle your social media appropriately, because you fucked up. Like you fucked up. Like, and it's not that hard. If you're already willing to fire the bitch who said something, it takes 2 seconds to say something out loud about a decision that affirms it for everyone else who doesn't know, you know? I think it's a very careless mistake on a business perspective is really what I'm going at with it.
And just to cap this off, not that this is the opinion of the entire show, but just to cap this off, I agree with that, because a lot what we saw in the George Floyd movement was everyone saying, "Oh, we've been silent." Police who have seen, you know, brutality done towards people who have been silent. How about Emmett Till, who was, you know, the woman that accused him? She actually came out 90 years later after he was dead to say, "Oh, it didn't happen." That silence killed them. I agree. Silence is an answer, but is it the right one with this one? I don't think so, because like I said, with everything going on, we need people of power to stand behind our community, and especially the trans community, who I've seen recently in the news have been under attack. And there's another presidential debate, and we know how things get during that. Things get really ugly. But we're out of time. I want to thank our guests for joining us and getting to the bottom of this. Vincent, Veronica, I can't say this shit.
Veronica Vixen.
I know. I've been drinking coffee all day. Veronica Vixen, thank you so much for joining us. Apollo Infinity, thank you so much for joining us as well. Thanks. And Mr. Vin Swaysion, thank you so much as well.
Love y'all. Thank you for having us.
All right, guys. So we're gonna move on from this topic.
Thanks for being here.
We're going to move on from this topic because I really want to get into the OnlyFans story now that they're banning sexually explicit content. So if you're not familiar with OnlyFans, here's a little news clip just to get us on track.
OnlyFans isn't the kind of website you'd feel safe opening up at work.
That's why it surprised a lot of people when the company announced this week that starting in October, adult content will no longer be allowed.
Yeah, OnlyFans, while it's been around for 5 years, it's just recently gained popularity through celebrity endorsements and through the pandemic. And while for creators and for fans, it is a little bit of fun, for some, it's their livelihood and monthly paycheck.
So I wanted to talk about this topic because during the pandemic, OnlyFans became a way for a lot of people to make some money. I just kind of want to go to reaction because this push, the new policy is going to happen October 1st. This is coming from banking partners, you know, because they want to get an app, I believe, on Google, and Google and Apple bans basically porn. So let me start with Ivan. Wow. We're just talking about businesses and making the right move. Is this the right move for OnlyFans?
But I mean, I think the whole thing is about the whole banking thing and blah, blah, blah. We don't want to support porn, and you can't do so. You know what? Give me a Zello account. Give me a quick cash account on my freaking phone. I mean, I'm going to get my money anyway. I mean, the freaking pandemic's going on. People are sitting home not working. What they're going to do, have a little fun, make a little video. So what's the big deal? What is pushing this big thing now? And to say these banking transactions and all this other stuff, and it's porn and everything else. People are going to find a way to make money anyway. So what is the big deal? It's fans only. It's not for kids. I mean, celebrities are involved in it. Fine. Until somebody got pissed off somewhere with the fact that money was coming in and they weren't getting their cut. That's what it boils down to. So where's the pimp? We know who's doing the videos. Where's the pimp? Because apparently there were some pimps out there who making money off of these people. And now they're saying, stop it. Shut it down. October 1st, we're done. It's a little fishy there for me. Just saying.
Angelique.
OnlyFans flew under the radar for a really long time. For the first year or two that it was in business, it actually housed, like low-level entertainers, athletes, aspiring bakers, and things like that. It was people who weren't good with the setup for YouTube because YouTube was the number one place to make money. You could do like TikTok or
What's up?
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I got a call. Sorry, I said that. I jinxed myself. That's never happened before. No, freaking. I was saying like there was a lot of people who were trying to go away from YouTube because YouTube has very specific regulations for how you make money. You have to have so many views, you have to have so many followers, you have to have so many things. And so people were transitioning from YouTube to OnlyFans originally. And so people were creating content there to have their fans come and pay, and then you just get direct content. You don't have to sift through the bullshit. You don't have to worry about any of the minutia. It's like straight up what you want, the content you want. It's personalized. It's in-depth. At the time, we didn't have Patreon. We didn't have all these other apps that are kind of a little bit more funneled into what they should be. And so when people started going and making porn on there or posting their pictures, it was just a place for sex exhibitionists. It was a place for people to do voyeurism, but it hadn't become the height of what it was until the pandemic, when people were stuck at home and realized that they had to keep their lights on and we didn't have bills passed yet and things were going crazy. I actually have a couple of friends who were in the top 1% who had been doing it for a year and a half prior to the pandemic. And they were making their livelihood on it before then. And then when that flux came in, it actually took some of their business away, took some of their money, dropped them in the percentage rate because the pool got flooded. You know, the pond was full of fish. So this is kind of a cleansing, so to speak. So I'm actually not surprised. But there's other sites that are already picking up. There's one that literally has done a full-blown promotion a whole month ahead of schedule because of this announcement. To get people in, and they're going to be giving people full, like almost, they're getting 90% of the money they make. They're not taking anything for the first 6 months. So anybody who goes in gets 100%. So if you charge $10, you get the full $10. Charge $20, you get the full $20 for 6 months. They're like, this business is capitalizing on their stupidity, you know? But I mean, to be fair, they're doing it because that's what they want. They started off, that was never their intention, you know? And then you have like Just for Fans, which is their intention was pornography. You have this new site, it's called like Kickster or Flickster or something like that. And it's another one that's just for that. So you have to understand, like, I think that while it's kind of abrupt, I think it's merited. I think that I'm not shocked by it as I would be if it was like, you know, it's not like when Tumblr said we're no longer doing porn. I was like, what? What's the point of Tumblr without porn? I was like, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Like that's what it's for, you know?
Well, it's like XTube. I mean, XTube is the same thing. I mean, you make money on XTube. So if you don't go to Just Fans or, you know, OnlyFans, XTube's been around for a long time. So not that I use it, I'm just saying. But during the pandemic, apparently they were totally more than their thumbs and they were making money. So why stop them now?
Yeah, I have to agree with that because, like, just so we can save your time, I have to agree with that because one, I think it's a bad move because, like, I know, Angela, you just said they weren't intending that for that use, but that's literally how we know this and how they got, you know, famous. But also as well, we think about Grindr, we think about these other little dating apps, even like you have Facebook Messenger. I'm getting people sending porn over that, or even, you know, what Grindr is supposed to be. Grindr said is a dating app, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's a difference between the perception of dating and the reality of dating. It's like kind of like the perception of what America's supposed to be and the reality of it, you know.
Big difference.
There's so much to unbox in that. No, like that's really different though. Like even on Grindr, you can't even like you couldn't solicit yourself. You couldn't sell. Right. You can barely post certain types of pictures. The content is very, very monitored. It's heavily monitored. Whereas OnlyFans, they didn't give a shit. You could have posted anything you wanted on OnlyFans, and they technically don't monitor it as long as it's not endangering someone's life and it's not breaking a law. You can do it on OnlyFans. You can show videos of you smoking weed. You can teach people how to roll blunts. You can do, and in a legal state, you can do whatever you want. You could technically be a minor drinking underage on the video, and OnlyFans is not questioning anything you do in your bank. It's like going into one of those like Amsterdam sex rooms. Like what you do in the room is your business. Just clean up after yourself and make sure your mess is good, right? Like that's pretty much how they work. So now they're saying like, you know, with investors and money's coming in and people are like, hey, like if we're going to put ourselves into this and we're going to help you monetize your business in a different route, then this is what we need in return. So it's a compromise. It sounds like a business deal. We're talking about smart business moves. They probably are on the verge of doing something else or going in another direction. Honestly, it sounds to me like that shit is going to get shut down in a little bit, and they're selling out. They're selling out. Yep. They're gonna take their paycheck. They have made millions and millions of dollars off of these naked people. They said, you know what, the pandemic's gonna be over soon. Let's not fuck it up. We got a good thing going. I'm at the casino. I just hit the jackpot. I'm out. Exactly. That's what it sounds like to me. It really does. It sounds like they're just like, I'm done. You want to start a company? Go right ahead. You go make the money now, but your money's going to be diluted. You'll never make what we made because we did it first.
And who's to say they won't start up another one? I mean, granted, the fact OnlyFans today, I mean, it could be something else tomorrow. The same people doing the same thing.
Watch that shit be just like, what is it? The one OnlyFans XXX. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be the porn only OnlyFans, and you'll be able to go on there and do that. And they're going to launch it January 1st. I'm calling it now. It's going to be
just like XTube, you go on there for people to like post their porn and things like that.
You don't go looking for fucking videos of Barney for your children on XTube. You just don't, right? Same thing. You don't go on YouTube looking for pornography, right? So there's a place for everything and everything for a place. And so they're figuring out their place in the world. But I wouldn't be surprised if they drop something else or they,
it's all money driven. They have to. They will. It's just that's human nature. It's all about the buck.
It's all about
or it's a cash out. We'll see a cash out. That's my real vote, though. Y'all heard it here first. My real vote is they're cashing out.
Follow the money.
Follow the money trail.
Yes, follow the money.
All right, so let's get to this last topic before we go. I just kind of want to comment on former tour manager of R. Kelly, Demetrius Smith. He recently testified, and he also was in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, I believe. Let's just go to look at a small little news clipping of what's going on in R. Kelly's case.
To Brooklyn, New York, where day 3 of testimony in the R. Kelly sex abuse trial is underway. Kelly is facing human trafficking and racketeering charges amid allegations that he sexually abused 6 women, 3 of whom were minors at the time, over a period of 30 years. If he is convicted, R. Kelly could spend the rest of his life in prison.
So what was in the testimony was talking about the alleged, well, now we know this is factual, the marriage between him and Aaliyah and how he's concerned about it. This is not a recent development, but, with this trial going on, I kind of want to go to how you guys feel about this because we haven't talked about it. Angelique, I'm going to start. Well, Ivan, let me start with you.
Here we go.
So, Ivan, do you think this is I want to ask you, how do you feel about this? And do you think this will be the final nail in the coffin with the R. Kelly's drama?
First two words, why now? You felt so bad about it when Aaliyah was a little innocent teenager, blah, 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 whatever's going on. Why now? All these years, it's hitting you. I think I'm smelling the money trail again. There's somebody involved in here somewhere to do this. Why now? Everything was fine and dandy. Oh, maybe you felt bad about it. Maybe you got paid off for it back then. Maybe the money ran out now. Who knows? But something is just really, really fishy for it to happen now and say, oh, yeah, this really happened. Where were you before?
Angelique?
I think the way it seems based on what's presented here, I'm just thinking off the top of my head that somebody has something held over his head, and it's either you testify against him or you're going with him at this point.
Yep.
Because you can't imagine that you were the tour manager and you seen all of the people come and go, and you know everything about everyone.
You were the tour manager. You were the supplier too. You were the supplier as well. So you knew everything was going on. So
or you're the one who turned your head, when things were going down. So and you had to know where your person was at all times. So
that was your job.
He was going and what he was doing. So you're what is it? You're also
complacent,
guilty by association, right? Yeah, you are also guilty too. Like, so he's either cut a deal for himself or he's definitely taken
cut or get cut.
He absolutely did. I read in a recent article that he does have immunity with that because in order to get the real story, like there I don't know, I'm right. I think you guys are right. It's all about money. There is no real justice, but in order to get the real story, to get this man to talk, like they had to make a deal. So I don't think he's like seeking redemption in this because there's nothing redeeming about it.
No, he's making sure that he can sleep at night.
Right.
I meant complicit,
and not in
complacent.
jail.
Yes, that's
I
the
meant
word. Thank you.
complicit,
Yes.
not complacent. He
Right.
was complacent back in the day, but he was complicit because he knew what the hell was going on with it. So he was not innocent at all. So
And R. Kelly was making him money then, and now he's making him money now.
big
So
time.
it
Wait for
it
the
just
book,
is what
wait for
it
the
is.
movie, wait for the
Yep,
book, wait for
well,
the movie.
Hopefully, it's not another Lifetime movie, but yeah.
Hey, if there's
Stay
money
away from
involved,
those.
follow the trails, follow the trail of the money, and that's where it's gonna go.
So I just want to ask you guys, do you think this will probably be the final nail in the coffin? Because they had a lot of proof of this. They had Aaliyah's fake, alleged, what is it? The marriage license. Is this it for R. Kelly?
I think it needs to be just be done and get it over with and put him in jail and say, okay, dude, you got away with it for a while. Now you're busted. We have enough proof to say this is it. Why keep dragging this on? Go back in the closet.
It's a fucking shame that this will be the nail in a coffin and not all those girls.
That part.
Right.
It's a shame that it took this to get us there. For him to be off of everything and away from everything. And it's a shame that there's no remorse on his side for anything that he said or did. Not any of the lives that he's ruined or anything that he's done. And so that's I mean, I can only hope that the justice system holds him the way that they held Britney.
Well, how many different episodes did we hear about the closet? So his jail cell could be his closet, and he can keep on making those in his mind because, he's done.
Because he obviously has. I hope this is the final nail in the coffin not the final, but I hope this is like the beginning of the end because this story has been going on for a long time. Years since I was in middle school, and I'm still young. I don't know. I'm not gonna release my age, but I'm now a full-grown adult, and R. Kelly is finally being held on trial. Just let the nigga go. Excuse me.
But you grew up with it.
Freudian slip.
It's still going on. You grew up with it. It's still going on. It's time to bring it to an end and be done with it.
We had that PP tape, and even though Dave Chappelle made fun of it and we all laughed, it wasn't something that we should have laughed at. It was kind of we're desensitized at a moment about hearing about R. Kelly. So I just hope, these people, the jury, just, let him go away for the rest of his life because what he did to these people, it was more than just, Aaliyah. It was a sex trafficking. It was his wife. It was the being locked up in the closet. All this.
That whole closet. That thing was a damn friggin' a condo. That wasn't just a closet. That was a party shop.
Absolutely.
And it went on for far too long.
Right. Anyway, so we're out of time, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us because I really wanted to get into talking about what happened to Hamburger Mary's, and hopefully there's more of a resolution because there's so much going on in the community that, like I said, if you have power, step up and help. But, anyhow, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much.
Next week.